This is the fail. Isaac did this one in CWL. He is trying to do, as you can see, he's trying to do a hybrid attack. He, has lower end heroes, so it's going to be, and this is a pre-max Town Hall 13, so it's going to be a difficult 1 to 3-star. So he's entering at the CC, and he's going to get, wants to try to get the CC, this Royal Champ, and the Scatter Shot, right? He's trying to enter in with Queen Charge here. Okay. So, and he's using his Barbarian King to funnel. So I'm just going to turn off the sound. So, main problem that happens with this one is the CC. Okay. So, as you can see, the CC I think is a triple witch and archer CC, right? And that type of combination of CC is one of the big reasons why you know, especially if it unscouted base, you need to bring a poison, right? So it can be very difficult for like your single target Barbarian King and Archer Queen be able to take down the witches because they'll just keep summoning skeletons faster and then you can destroy them. So then when you see this type of CC, your poison placement is extremely important, right? You need to make sure that the poison is on the witches so that you can kill them with the poison. Okay. He had 2 options here. One, he probably could have just put his poison right down there where the witches are right now. Okay. And the Barbarian King hasn't used its ability yet. The Barbarian King's pretty tanky. The witches, they take a little while to die, but they probably would have died within the poison. But what he decides to do is rage his Archer Queen and wait. All right. And then he places down the poison. Okay. So this is where the problem begins. The poison, he dropped it just outside of range of the witches. If you have witches here, you can't really poison. You need to make sure the poison hits not just the skeletons, but also the witches. All right. So sometimes you have to wait to drop the poison. The other thing you can do is you can put the poison in between the Archer Queen and the witches so that it's out a little bit. But if you put the poison so that it covers your Archer Queen, like this one, the witches will generally just stand right outside of it. That's what happens on this attack. And then the witches just keep summoning skeletons and keep summoning skeletons. And then with all the extra damage. Now, I think also on here, if you drop the rage a little bit earlier, maybe he would have survived. Hard to know. He dropped it late there, so that wasn't worthwhile to do. You either needed to save the rage or drop it earlier. But I think if you haven't had a lot of experience with this, I've had this happen a couple of times to myself, where if you don't get that poison, if you poison the skeletons instead, the witches sometimes just never die. Okay. So that's what happened here, and so now he tries to rescue it. So he switches his CC to a blimp, right? Because now he's going to try to blimp the Town Hall, at least try to get maybe a 1-star. And I think it's also possible, and he did Grand Warden this, all right? So that's pretty good to help make sure the blimp makes it here. But think maybe it would have done it. So he freezes it. You may even want to put a heal over here, right? Try and make sure you try to get, because there's nobody else that's going to attack this base. And if he refroze right here, if he refroze the Town Hall a second time, he has another freeze, I think it would have gone down. Okay. But since he didn't freeze the Town Hall there, the attempt at trying to redo it didn't let the Town Hall go down either. Okay. So that ended up being a fail. Now, otherwise, I mean, the plan was good, pretty good, I think. Going in, getting a multi-target Inferno Tower, getting a Scatter Shot, getting the CC, getting the Royal Champ, with your Queen Charge, and then you could have still tried to go around this edge, right? With your hogs and miners, and I don't know. I would have personally probably tried to blimp the town hall, because you have a pretty good ring around here. But maybe he was planning to try to jump in to get it with the archer queen. Okay. That is a possibility as well. I mean, otherwise the plan was, pretty decent, but those witches really did him in, and he didn't quite had the plan ready well enough for how to take down that town hall with the fail. Now, that's something that's common. So if you have a fail like this, you really have to go in all in to get down that town hall, because that town hall is pretty hard to get down, right? And so he need to invest even, all of his spells just basically trying to take that thing down. Because those witches were going to do work on him otherwise. And I don't think he was going to get 50% very easily. Okay. All right. So this is the fail. Any comments or questions about this? So these are all going to be legend leagues against random bases, right? So there was no pre-planning besides the 20 seconds of pre-planning. So with this base, we have a bit of a ring base. We can see that, the sweepers are both passing opposite directions here. But I think really the key part here, and all the expos are set to air and ground. Okay, so that's not, a great situation for Electro Dragons, depending on where you're entering. But the good news about this base design is the CC and the Eagle and two Inferno Towers and all. It's all on one side, right? The harder bases are when the Eagle and the CC are split. That's actually a more common design. I think you'll see most of the other bases I hit are the CC and the Eagle are split. But on this base, the CC and the Eagle are on the same spot. I think this is supposed to be a bit of a queen charge trap, an attempt at it, right? So a queen charge, somebody that's trying to queen charge, they may want to try a queen charge into here. And the idea here is with all four expos, double infernos, two heroes, they're trying to make it very challenging. And there may be a lot of black mines here. They're trying to make it very challenging queen charge. But we're not queen charging. We're doing Electro Dragon. And so our plan is to go into here with a few balloons to get any black mines, and the Electro Dragons and Rages and Grand Warden ability really early, so that, all this extra damage that they have here, it's just all going to go into invulnerable troops, right? So the plan is to try to take down a whole bunch of high value targets all at once while you're invulnerable. At the same time, we're going to funnel with the heroes. I mean, the big thing with the heroes, Electro Dragon, again, I'll say it. Try to repeat some things from the previous class, right? I'll be repeating a lot of the same stuff. You don't, unless you know what's in the CC, you generally do not want to pull the CC of your heroes. All right. Now, sometimes a base warrants it, like, maybe Eagle and a whole bunch of the air defenses are on the other side of the CC, and so you decide going in that side is better with your Electro Dragons, and that means your heroes, you either need to do your heroes early and hope they die and not pull a CC, or you may just pull the CC at the very end, but the hope is that you've killed most of the defenses so that you can take out the CC while there's only a few defenses left and then finish up the base. So the good news is this base, you don't have to make such difficult choices here, because most of what you want to take down is all on the same side. Besides the scatter shots, which, are, there's scatter shots, there's air defenses over here, but it's obviously there's more value over here. Generally, the scatter shots aren't great either for Electro Dragons, but they're not quite as bad as Inferno Towers and even air defenses, okay? So I'll start up the attack. You can see I will do the, let's see, he's doing fists. All right, so here should be some test loons. Yeah, so these are just the test loons. You know, especially on a base that's designed like this site could be like super heavily trapped. All right, so they could have like all 5 black mines and stuff like that on here. And you don't really want all 5 black mines hitting your Electro Dragons. So especially on a base design like this, you want to try to put out a few test loons. And then I very quickly, you know, speed is essential when you have this high damage setup here. I very quickly put down everything, the Grand Warden, get the rages. All right, and as soon as the CC is down, you see right when that CC went down, I put down my Barbarian King. It's probably far enough away that it wouldn't have been a problem, but I was just being extra careful there, right? So I put down the Barbarian King and the Archer Queen so that they don't pull anything. And then the next thing, and one thing that I guess in general to remember of Electro Dragons is spell placement is super key. Okay, so and it's challenging because generally you won't know exactly where your Electro Dragons are going to go. You know, is one plate, or you know, are 3 going to go here, or is 1 going to go here, is 4 going to go here? And so what you have to do is you have to on the fly determine where's the most optimal places to put your spells, right? Freezes sometimes you can pre-plan out for like war. You always want, when you're like trying to freeze something, like here, I want to freeze this Inferno Tower, all right? So you should look at the defenses around it, okay? You don't want to just freeze, if you place it right on the Inferno Tower, you may get only 1 defense, right? But you want to get a couple of things, hopefully, right? Unless it's moded completely. So when you're trying to freeze something, you look at what you want to freeze, and then you look at what's near it, right? Real quickly. And here I saw the Grand Warden, I saw the Expo. There's also this Archer Queen that you could try to freeze. But I went for the multi-target Inferno, the Expo, and the Grand Warden. Okay, that's pretty high value freeze there. And the same thing over here. I don't know what's behind this Inferno Tower with all these balloons blocking it right now, but you can see the freeze is starting to drop here. I'm getting the single target Inferno and the Expo. All right. So these are all very high damage areas, and you know you want to try to get them down frozen pretty soon after your Grand Warden ability has worn off, right? You know, try not to freeze things except maybe sweepers when your Grand Warden ability is going. But as soon as your Grand Warden ability wears off, that's when you generally start trying to freeze. Okay, and so for your rages, it's all actually somewhat similar. You want to rage also where the high damage buildings are, but you want to put it on your troops, right? So it's somewhat similar in that, you know, you're saying, hey, you know, I really need to destroy this stuff quickly per se, right? So I'm going to want to rage my troops when I'm there, okay? So again, another thing about this attack is how we're going to take this is a fairly moded town hall. It's possible my troops will get there because of these air sweepers, but you don't know. And so it's hard to know. They could easily go down the sides here and never go for the town hall. Okay, so you have 2 options here. One, you can use a blimp and take it out. All right, you could even start doing a blimp right now. I don't actually remember which way I go on this one. I think I'd use a blimp really soon here to try to take down that town hall. And then 2, you can hold your blimp and see if your troops go to the town hall or not. And if they do go to the town hall, you can just use your troops, and then you can use a slammer, which is a little bit more efficient and will likely increase your chances of getting a 3-star. Okay. Or if they go around it, then you can use the blimp in. Okay. Now the con of this is if you activate the town hall but don't kill it, and it takes some time for your blimp to get there. You may need to waste like a freeze on your town hall, on the town hall, to freeze it while your blimp's en route, so that like if your Electro Dragons are on the side of the town hall, you don't want them to get roasted by it. while your blimp's flying over. Okay, so it's a bit of a gamble that you're doing there, but it's one that can pay off and help you secure a 3-star, right? Sometimes you don't have the efficiency otherwise to get the 3-star unless you use the slammer later. Okay. All right. So here I did a early blimp. Okay. I'm not waiting to see if the Electro Dragons were going to arrive. I got Electro Dragon 3 balloons in my blimps. And generally, it's good to put down just a rage. Okay, that helps it take down really fast, and it helps also if there's like tornado traps or other traps or you know around the area. Now, it is possible to take it down with just a freeze, but the problems you'll get is if like the tornado traps whip your units away, you may not get the town hall down then. The rage is a bit more safe, even though it's twice the spell slots. Okay, and if there's like a tornado trap, you'll probably also want to freeze it. Okay, so that time there wasn't a tornado trap, so a freeze wasn't really needed. But if it also was a tornado trap that got triggered, you're going to end up wanting to freeze that town hall. Okay. Now, normally, and this is true of almost all attacks, not quite all, but most attacks, one of the last units you put down is your royal champion. You know what the logic of that exactly is? It's just really the royal champion's kind of beefy, compared to like a hog or something. But it targets defenses, so it's not as beefy as like the barbarian king. So you really normally you want to try to put the royal champion. There's a couple of choices, right? You can put your royal champion with your barbarian king. That's a really good choice. The Barbarian King helps tank initially the first few defenses that the Royal Champion is going after. Obviously, later, most likely, the Royal Champion is going to charge ahead. Another thing you want to look at when you're putting down your Royal Champion is you want to avoid the enemy Barbarian King. Okay? Because that enemy Barbarian King will kill your Royal Champion. Even if you freeze the enemy Barbarian King, it still will kill your Royal Champion most of the time. Just because of the extra damage from the other defenses. If you bring probably what's it, the assassin? If you bring one of the little assassin troops, that will allow your royal champion to take down the barbarian king. I don't think a poison will allow your royal champion to take down a barbarian king. So, if I put my royal champion right down up here at 12, he'll get to that barbarian king fairly quickly, and I'm either going to need to waste a rage and a freeze or something, or I'm just going to have to let him die and not get nearly as much value. Okay, so when putting down the royal champion on this base, it's obvious which side I want to do, right? I want to do it with the barbarian king away from the enemy barbarian king, help synergize all these ground troops together, and have them help go around. And of course, the third decision of where to put down the royal champion is, and of course it varies by the attack, but Electro Dragons at least generally, you want it to take down like something, especially like air defenses if you can, because the air defense is not going to hurt your royal champion a lot, but it's going to hurt your Electro Dragons a lot. So putting them on air defenses if possible is also a very good choice. Okay. So we get like almost all three here. So it's highly likely, we'll put down the royal champion over here. Of course, a Tesla popped up here. You could just put down your royal champion back there or try get that Tesla if you notice it. I don't even know if I noticed that. I probably was pretty focused up here at the time, and so I probably didn't even notice that Tesla. But the other good thing about Electro Dragon is, at least with this style of Electro Dragon attacks, time fails are almost non-existent. Okay. You're almost never going to time fail. It will happen occasionally, but I mean, since you're dumping almost all your troops right at once at the beginning and you have a lot of rages, time fails just aren't it's very rare that you get in a situation for a time fail. Occasionally you'll have like just one air troop alive and nothing left that hits air, and possibly you'll get a time fail, but it, it literally time fails are probably once out of every 50 or more attacks. And if you do other attacks like hybrid, time fails are like common, right? If you're a really good hybrid attacker, oftentimes you are battling as much against time fails as you are against having all your troops die. Electro Dragon, it's more almost always just you're battling against all your troops dying. Okay. Okay. So this base is a little different. As I was saying, a standard base design is you have an eagle on one side and the CC on other to make the choice more difficult for the attacker. Some other advantages we do have on attacking this base, though, is all the expos, they look to be on ground to me. Now, another thing to look at with this base is both sweepers are pointed this direction. It was this direction, like 4 or 5 o'clock. That is a bit of a problem from attacking from this side. They are chainable, though. And the air defenses are somewhat chainable. They're not chainable from the expos here. These are not chainable from the outside, only the bomb towers. We have some air defense chaining issues, all right? And that's one thing to look at, is where can you get chaining, okay? In general, when I have a design like this that I see, I find attacking from the side is best. So when you attack from the side, the benefit is a couple of fold, but one is that you're not going against double sweepers, right? Because we really don't want to go against double sweepers. If you go up against double sweepers like that are separated out so you can't freeze them both together, it's extremely challenging to 3-star generally. That gives you only the choices of attacking from opposite of those sweepers or from the side. And I generally find that attacking from the side is better. It gives you more of an opportunity to destroy the eagle early on. And destroying the eagle, yes, it is important. We have no healers. Inherently, each time that eagle fires, that damage is not being healed. It will hit something and the damage is never being healed. It is putting a clock on us how quickly we need to take that down before it's just impossible for us to 3-star the base. And so if you go opposite of the eagle like here, even though there's no sweepers pointing at you, you just may take down the eagle too late. Then next question on this base is where to put your heroes. There's not a great choice here on this base. So if you do the CC side, you may pull the CC. This is a Legend League attack, so I couldn't actually pre-plan and check the range. But just looking at it, it's a bit on the edge. I think maybe it's unpullable without going through the walls, but it looked a little risky. So I probably wouldn't put the heroes down this side. Okay. So then that means putting them on this side. And this is a common design choice, is then you put all ground expos on this other side. All right. And this is actually trying to hurt that you're putting heroes on this side, right? I mean, there's multiple reasons why you're possibly do this, but for at least Electro Dragon defense wise, now your heroes have to deal with 4 expos. But your Electro Dragons are going to come in and hopefully take down those expos pretty quickly. And as I said, it's a very fast attack. So hopefully the heroes won't take too much damage from them. That is generally the plan with this base. Think about which side you attack from. I don't actually remember which side, but one thing I look at a lot is that Barbarian King, and I debate about it a lot. I think in general it's best to attack opposite of the Barbarian King side if there's a choice. The Barbarian King is very tanky, and your Electro Dragons prioritize it. So what will happen is your Electro Dragons will all just kind of swarm around the Barbarian King, and it can take a while for him to take it down. And you don't really want all the defenses hitting you while that's happening. I don't know which choice I made on this attack, but you generally don't want all the defenses hitting you. Now the other while you're trying to take down the Barbarian King. Now obviously the other option is if you overwhelm him with Electro Dragons and a rage, then you can take him down really quickly. So it can still work out. But if you only get a couple Electro Dragons on him, or he's not where you want to rage, like if he was like over on this edge over here by this cannon, but close to the air defense or something like that, that can be a lot of trouble for your Electro Dragons because you may not have a lot of Electro Dragons on the edge here, and they'll get stuck on the Barbarian King and get air defensed a whole lot. And then you don't have a lot of good choices. You either have to use a rage on like a single Electro Dragon type scenario, which isn't super great with efficiency, or you have to like freeze the air defense, which, you know, he's not going to kill the Barbarian King very quickly, or you just let the Electro Dragon die. Literally, that can cost you a 3-star, some type of scenario like that. So it's one thing to just be aware that those Barbarian Kings, because they're trouble. So let's see. I think I must attack on the Barbarian King side, but since he's like in the middle, it's not as bad, right? So since he's in the middle, and so on this one, it's a little different. This base is a bit more spread out on the outside. So I decided that we need to try to do some funneling. All right, and there's multiple ways you can potentially do funneling. You're mainly determining this by how spread out the side is, right? And how much there's trash buildings on the sides, right? So on this base, there's a lot of trash on the sides. It's very spread out. We got buildings all the way across the side. I'm doing some funneling with a balloon and an Electro Dragon. You can just put an Electro Dragon and risk a SAM if you want. But I generally do the balloons first. And since I am planning to do my heroes on the 6 o'clock side, I don't do any funneling on this side. But I want you. It depends on the base, and you kind of gotta try to eye it. You don't want your Barbarian King and Archer Queen to decide to path into this middle part, right? Because there's even a path, if you can see, with these gold storages all the way up to the CC and stuff like that. That'll be no good. That's not where you want them to go. They go up there and die and pull a lava hound, you're going to be in a lot more trouble. It is still possible to 3-star in some of those scenarios, but you need to be lucky in that there's no really bad defenses hitting your Electro Dragons while they're taking care of the Lava Hound. Okay, so then you're starting to roll the dice if you can get it or not. So in this case, I decided that putting down the Electro Dragons first is better, and then put down the heroes. All right, because I was fairly concerned because there's a double layer of buildings this way, and there's even a path in. So that's why I'm putting down my Electro Dragons first, and then my Grand Warden, and then I'll probably Grand Warden ability, do the rages, and then the heroes. On this one, I only, oftentimes you'll see me do 2 rages, and there's some reasoning behind that, and you can decide yourself on which basis you need to do which way. But good thing about the double rages is generally you don't as much create what I call a reverse funnel. The problem with a single rage sometimes is the Electro Dragons go in here, they get raged up, and then they make almost like a U. So this whole section gets taken out, and then it's the sides that are alive, okay? And that can be a problem, especially if there's stuff in the middle that you really need to take out. I wouldn't say, you could say a couple of things for a single rage on this one and not a double. First of all, there really wasn't a whole lot on the edges yet, right? I mean, we had the 2 heroes. As I said, we need to take down that Barbarian King quickly. We have an Archer Queen. We have a single target Inferno. We want to get through that really fast, okay? Because that will hurt us really bad otherwise. And there just really isn't too much else with how I've placed them down here. I instead went for the efficiency of having them almost all go into the rage, and I managed to get everything Grand Wardened, and almost everything's going to go into this rage. So I have a lot of Grand Warden efficiency and a lot of rage efficiency here. But I don't have much. My pathing efficiency for going into the core isn't super great, but that's mainly okay since, really the Eagle's on the side, the air defenses are on the side, the single target Inferno and the air defenses are on the side, so it's not too much of a problem, and the Town Hall will be taken down with a blimp anyway. So again, with this one, especially since I did the single rage and the heroes, look, they're all going after this Barbarian King, just like I was talking about, which is a little bit of a problem because we have this air defense hitting us. But I wouldn't wait to see if the Electro Dragons would get to this Town Hall this time either, especially because it wasn't modded. I went ahead and did the drop of the Electro Dragon. And I also decided to go ahead and freeze it because there was going to be a scatter shot and the Town Hall hitting it, and you get the value of freezing both anyway. So I went ahead and froze that as well. Okay. So, again, when you get to this point, it's just a question of where do you get freeze value? Where do you get, rage value? And you look at your targets and you got to try to decide. And you can even freeze things that are hitting your heroes too. It doesn't just have to be the Electro Dragon, for the Electro Dragons. You got to just determine where the value was. And then see, this time I decided the freeze value was these ground expos, sweeper. I don't know if I actually get the eagle with that one. Yeah, I get the eagle too. And so I decided that was the highest value. You got 4 things right there. Okay. And we got 2 more freezes and the Royal Champion. So with this one, if I rewind it just a little bit, I was actually planning, I think I put it down right before these Teslas popped up, or I wasn't really paying attention to Teslas at the time. I wanted to help this Electro Dragon get this single target Inferno. Okay. But unfortunately, I got the Teslas popping up. So I really had to invest a lot of freezes and rages here to finish it up. One thing to note, and this is just a general note of Royal Champion and single target Inferno interactions. If your Royal Champion is going straight to a single target Inferno, and you aren't planning, you want to try to take it down without a freeze or a rage or something else distracting it, you need to use your Royal Champ ability before it gets targeted by the single target Inferno. Now, if the single target Inferno locks on to your Royal Champion before the ability is used, you got a few choices. You either need to early ability it, then I think you just barely maybe take out the single target Inferno, or it's probably more efficiently at that point to just freeze it if you have a freeze still. What you don't want to do is wait until the Royal Champion's health is going down very quickly and try to roll a champion ability, because you won't take down the single target Inferno most likely, and you're risking your Royal Champion dying without ever getting the ability off. Once that happens, you need to decide which direction you're going, okay? Now, you see there's one baby dragon. There's a lot of different options of what you do with the baby dragon. The baby dragon can be used for funneling. The baby dragon can be used for cleanup. I very commonly use the baby dragon behind the Royal Champion because the Royal Champion targets only, defenses, and the baby dragon helps clean up all the buildings that leaves behind. I suspect that strategy is best for trying to get higher percentage on your 2 stars, not just trying to get a 3-star. So it's potentially in war, it's better to use the baby dragon early for funneling. And when you're going to do that, when you're going to use the baby dragon for funneling and not cleanup, which I'll just rewind it to the back, what you'll do is generally use on the side where the heroes are not. With this one, it would be a little bit of a problem because like the air defense is right here. So that's another reason, just hold on to the baby dragon. And that's also, of course, why you see air defenses on the corners a lot to try to prevent something like this. But let's say the air defense isn't there, okay? So you don't particularly want your Electro Dragons to be going out here and destroying like this trash. You want it to take out the heavy defenses first, like the second Inferno, the air defense, and stuff like that first, right? So what you'll do is you put your heroes down on one side, and you'll put your Electro Dragons down, and you'll put your baby dragon out here on the other side to help, just at least in the beginning, help the Electro Dragons go into the core of the base and not go out on the outside. If you get a whole bunch of Electro Dragons going on the outside, going around, killing the trash buildings while like the single target Infernos and the air defenses or whatever are hitting them, you won't be able to 3-star. Luckily, recently in my Legend Leagues, I got a lot of different 3-stars on a lot of different bases, so we get to see many different styles of bases hit. This is one of the super common Legend League bases. I got a style of this with my that I'm running as my base as well.
depending upon how well it's designed, these, like, I don't know what you call them, a 9-box base type thing setup, they can be really hard to 3-star with almost any attack. But generally, their design is fairly easy to 2-star with any attack, right? The town hall's on the side here. There's no real big defenses around it. There's not even that many. There's no storages by this thing. Actually, with this layout, if you're doing like a Yeti smash, I actually don't think this design is super great because you could Grand Warden walk this town hall fairly easily. What happens with these bases, I think, is the 3 stars are actually pretty hard to do for almost all attacks if this design is done well. And one thing that makes it really hard for Electro Dragons to 3-star, which we're focusing on here, is how the air defenses normally are placed. Okay, and if you look at this base, again, there's that Barbarian King by the air defense, so you gotta watch out for that thing. There's 2 tiles between all these air defenses. I think every single one, yes, every single one, 2 tiles all around. And chains will only go across 1 tile. So none of these air defenses in this base are chainable. So that can be a lot of trouble for Electro Dragons. It really decreases the likelihood of 3-starring. Okay, so if I was attacking this base, I would have, if I had a choice, I probably would have chosen dragons instead of Electro Dragons. Dragons deal better with that. They have more hit points per unit space, and they can go through a spread out base like this a bit better. However, I don't have a choice. This is Legend League. We'll still have to try, right? And do the best we can. And then, maybe we don't 3-star it super often, but we get 3-stars some of the time, hopefully. So this is a base that has a very, very solid ring around it. So you got a couple of things you got to worry about. You got to worry about, your Electro Dragons going around the edge too. And you need to get to those air defenses pretty quickly. So as I talked about, this Barbarian King's a problem. I have a Barbarian King by an air defense. All right, so your options are either to attack from the opposite side and hopefully, luckily, kill that air defense before you get onto the Barbarian King, or have your heroes help take it down because the Barbarian King will hop over, right? If you're doing your heroes to take it down, and since all these heroes are on the outside, you probably could get a lot of value from some Royal Assassins, 1 or 2 instead of balloons to help out with this attack, right? So otherwise, it's similar as the other attacks. We definitely need to try to funnel this outer edge. We can't just put our troops in the center, right? We don't want potentially multiple Electro Dragons going around the edge here. Generally, I find putting the heroes is better on this town hall side because we have these double ground expos on the other side, and we don't have any ground expos on this side, right? So there's nothing that's really going to give our heroes a lot of damage. And on top of that, we potentially want our heroes, either side we're attacking from, help take down this Barbarian King. So what we're going to be doing is starting up the funnel, right? And putting down Electro Dragons on storages is really good because it helps the chains last for a while. You get the chains off of the storages, especially if like a storage that doesn't have a lot of damage around it, right? So you put the Electro Dragon on the storage and it can just chain off. And what I decided to do here on this other side of the funnel, I decided to use a baby dragon so that I can put my heroes down and make sure that they go this direction, right? Because I really want them to go to the town hall side. All right, and then they can help, as I said, kill this Barbarian King. Because the Barbarian King's a lot of trouble. So then I do my standard drop of balloons, Electro Dragons, Grand Warden. All right. Early Grand Warden ability. And then you have to decide where's the most efficient places to put your rages, right? So I put more over here towards the town hall side. So I got a rage right in between with them trying to get to that air defense quickly. And I'm probably going to put another one up on, by the single target Inferno. Okay, so a double rage this time because we're a bit more spread out and there's more critical defenses that we need to take down. We want to take down those isolated air defenses fairly quickly. And the way we're going to take down the town hall is with a blimp. Okay. And similarly, we're going to rage that. And no freeze is really, useful. Although, there was a tornado trap, there wasn't like any other defenses that were really hitting it, or any other defenses really that the Electro Dragons could target. So there wasn't a lot of opportunity for him to like go start hitting another defense or something. And, we got a lot of value for freeze here again. And look, the rage is right by the single target inferno, scatter shot, and sweeper, and we get the freeze value. Okay, so you'll sometimes see them in combination, right? So where you want to rage is sometimes also where you want to freeze. We're raging here so that all this stuff gets taken out quickly, and we're also freezing that area so it doesn't deal much damage. And as normal, World Champion with the other heroes to help them synergize some and help them tank. Also, since we have no baby dragon anymore, the other heroes will help clean up the trash that the Royal Champion leaves behind, basically. And it's away from, at least that Ground Expo. And just, there's at least some value with the Electro Dragon taking out the Ground Expo here. But basically, if you have these air defenses that are separated out like this, that's somewhat how you need to take them down. And I don't know what was in the CC. I don't think anything came out, so it probably was like triple ice column or something, which helped out on this attack. Poison the heroes doesn't help a lot, but it does help some. So if you didn't see anything come out of the CC or you missed it, make sure you try to use it on the heroes, right, to help out. All right, so that was actually a bit of a, besides the CC not being an all ground expos, the design of the air defense locations was actually a anti-Electro Dragon base, and we're still able to 3-star it. So it is possible. Generally what has to happen is you need, the early rages to take down the air defenses that are on the side you're attacking. And then the Royal Champion or your heroes need to help take down the air defenses that are on the other side that are isolated. Okay, so it's still possible to do, but especially on the back end, if your heroes aren't still alive, it can be more trouble. So this is a common ring base. It's pretty compressed, so that helps. Electro Dragons definitely have a bit of an advantage against a compressed base, right? Because you get a lot of chain value. The reason why people use compressed bases, it can give like people that are doing like a queen walk or queen charge or something like that a lot of trouble because the damage is very compressed. And so you're trying to heal through it, but the damage is so high that you aren't always able to, and things can go south very quickly. And so it really tests your reflexes and also your planning. In compressed bases, especially that are ring style like this, if the attacker is not on their top of their game and skilled and stuff like that, can lead to a lot of 1-stars and 0-stars. That's also on the other side why Electro Dragons are oftentimes fairly effective in Legend League, because people are trying to do these type of bases to try to get some unprepared attackers getting some 1-stars and 0-stars, right? But this is a style of base that Electro Dragons can be very good at. So on this base, we have to decide which side we're attacking on again. Okay, we generally don't want to put the heroes where the CC is in case there's like ice golems and lava hounds there that we don't want to pull. That means the heroes should likely to be deployed on the other side. And also we see on the other side, there's lots of trash buildings, so that even though we don't have any wall breakers or anything, the heroes are probably going to get value, right? Of destroying quite a few buildings and help. And that even if they're trash buildings, that still is very helpful because it helps make sure the Electro Dragons stay in the center. So on this one, we're going to attack from like the 4 or 5 o'clock side. And we'll put the heroes on like, the 2, 3 o'clock side, Archer Queen and Barbarian King. Since we have a fairly compressed base and the town hall somewhat moded, but not fully moded, we're going to hold, especially because what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of Electro Dragons right in the center. We're going to hold our blimp. And we're going to wait and see what happens. It's a bit of a risk call, but it'll help guarantee a 3-star if the Electro Dragons successfully go to the center, if we successfully path them to the center. Okay. So again, we don't really want a whole bunch of our Electro Dragons going down these sides. So we're going to do a bit of funneling. All right. So on both sides, we're doing an Electro Dragon and a balloon. And then we're doing the rest of the balloons, rest of Electro Dragons, early Grand Warden, double Rage, and then heroes down the opposite of the CC. And this CC does at least have a witch. It looks like it's probably Lava Hound Witch, so that's not too bad for us. Okay. And now we're starting to look for freeze value, right? Because our Grand Warden ability wore off, so that's and we're in a high damage area. So we got a single target Inferno and air defense together, so that was a really good freeze value right there. So we got both of those in a freeze. And then up here we have a scatter shot and a single target Inferno, so that was great freeze value too. And so like about here, if you're holding on to your blimp, and I have my blimp ready, selected on blimp just in case, right? And I'm waiting to see. And I'm seeing that there's this gap, right? And these Electro Dragons aren't closest thing is likely to be this Town Hall. So I still even have a Rage on there. And as soon as that Electro Dragon hits the Town Hall, I just put another Rage there and freeze it. And now I can use my Stone Slammer instead to help finish up the base. And the Stone Slammer plus the Royal Champion can be a really good combination. Sometimes people even use that with like even ground attacks, like Yeti attacks and stuff like that. And basically the reason why is they're both defense targeting units, so they work together to take down the defenses, and they'll kind of stick together while they do it. It's the same reason why if you do like Yeti Smash, and you have like or hybrid, and you have hogs in your siege barracks, you oftentimes put your Royal Champion with the hogs. And the reason why that you do that is because they help each other and they target the same stuff, and so they'll kind of stick together and help tank for each other. Here's another box base in a way. This one's a little different. It looks like it's 12. You have 4x4 or 16 boxes, but you can also notice it's more compact. I see 2 ground expos and 2 air expos, so I mean it's somewhat even, but it is a compact base. So on a compact base like this, I'll generally try attack on the Town Hall side. There isn't double sweepers pointed towards it or anything. If there's double air sweepers pointing towards it, it makes it more challenging, but this time there's this one air sweeper up at the top by the CC. So the CC is up at the 12 o'clock. So I want to try attack on the Town Hall side to take it down early. And so that means I'm going to probably want to put down, if I think I'm talking between 12 and 9. So I'm going to want to put down my my heroes down on the 9 o'clock side and have them go down that side. The other good thing to notice with that, and it fairly works out on both sides, is there's an air defense that you can target. You get the air defense with your Archer Queen. If you do manage to get it, that's a good value, right? We'll go ahead and start running the attack. There were a significant amount of trash buildings, and since this Tesla popped up, I actually did like another baby dragon balloon to help tank that Tesla, so that my baby dragon. And then I do all my heroes, and this time I decide to, it's another trick you can do if you're going to be doing an early blimp. It differs some if like the Town Hall is in the center. You can do like this, what I did right here, which is an early blimp in Grand Warden, and try to get the blimp all the way to the Town Hall, and that can work out. But since this Town Hall is kind of close to this side, I definitely decide that it's worthwhile to do an early blimp and then Grand Warden the blimp. And what this does for you is you have this invulnerable, fast-moving bullet kind of thing, and it goes in the front, and it starts tanking for everything, and it starts pulling all the traps for you, all the while it's invulnerable. And so that can be highly valuable because it both helps guarantee that the blimp gets there, and it also helps trigger all the traps with this fast-moving blimp. It's a little bit more risky if the Town Hall is, say, like dead in the center, and especially if there's also a sweeper and other things, or potentially a tornado trap pointing in and stuff. Because if you don't have enough clearing help with your Electro Dragons, your blimp may not make it, and you may not target the Town Hall. And then if it's like ringed and stuff, your troops may go around, and then you may get a 1-star, okay? So, but this is close, and so you could have probably done a slammer on this one as well. That's also possible. And it's really it's really hard to know ahead of time which one is best, because it's sometimes hard to predict your pathing, right? So we got enough Electro Dragons here. We probably could have done a Slammer, which may have been a little bit better for us. But you do run the risk that occasionally your Electro Dragon pathing will just be super wonky and you'll miss the Town Hall. It does just happen sometimes. So you're kind of balancing out the benefit of increased 3-star chance with decreased increase a 3-star chance with an increase of a potential 1-star chance, right? And some of it's just not predictable, like air bombs, air traps start going, and they start taking your Electro Dragons away from the Town Hall type thing. What looked like a clear path for your Electro Dragons to go get the Town Hall, all of a sudden, evaporates, and you've already deployed a Slammer. So your other option, again, is to hold on to the blimp and wait and make sure that it's clear that you're taking down that Town Hall before you deploy your Slammer. And you can just save your blimp just in case. Okay. And this is a pretty good overkill here. We still have our Archer Queen ability. I mean, the Electro Dragons are dying out, but this compressed space gave us a pretty good overkill on it. Okay. All right, we got one more. Okay, so with this base, we have a corner Town Hall, CC dead in the middle. We don't have double air sweepers pointing at the Town Halls, but we do have like a lot of value around this eagle. We got the heroes, all 3 heroes that target air, and the single target Inferno. You can attack from multiple different ways, but I believe I go from the eagle side on this one with all that value over there. But we'll see. No, Town Hall side again. Okay, so with this one, this is one of the things to remember is the funneling. You can remember we're almost never going to run out of time unless you just do some super long funneling. So make sure when you have like a storage and stuff like that on the edge where it takes a while to funnel, that you give it time to do so. Okay. And the CC in the center is a bit tricky, but you're going to need to try to hopefully be able to take that out and hold down your world champion until that CC is complete, so because you don't want to pull it, right? Luckily, it's a very chainable CC and it has pretty good pathing to it, so you're probably going to take it out. The ones that you can have more trouble with is that the CC is not very chainable and doesn't have good pathing, which you'll find a lot with people trying to avoid the Zap Quake Wallow type attacks. And it's in the center. The RC, sometimes you just have to end up pulling it for your RC because you just need to put it down. So it's a similar type strategy. We're trying to put our heroes down here on the side to help clear the side. And we're doing our early Grand Warden ability. I freeze this Inferno Tower even though we're Grand Warden, so it doesn't take down the Barbarian King. We do have a Witch CC that I think this is the one I missed the poison on. Okay. So I should have poisoned it, but I didn't. But there was just so many Electro Dragons around it, it didn't really matter. And luckily the Eagle targeted on my Barbarian King and not the Electro Dragons. Okay, so the Barbarian King still ended up pulling the CC. So this is an example of, a time where you still are able to 3-star even though you pulled the CC. It is possible. It just reduces your chance if you accidentally pull it for some reason. I put my heroes down before I put my Electro Dragons down. It's possible I should have done that afterwards to try to avoid the heroes going this direction. Okay, so that's all the Electro Dragons attacks we have. And again, I'm using the Baby Dragon to help clean up behind the Royal Champion. Okay, on this attack. So that's all Electro Dragon attacks we have. Is there any comments or questions? In general, Electro Dragons are really good at Legend League. They may not be quite the #1 attack in Legend League right now. I think actually the advent of Zap Quake Wallow has
hurt the Electro Dragon attack some. There's more expos being set to air now. There was a lot of the teaser style bases where you had the CC packed in with the scatter shots and Inferno towers all in the corner. It used to be really popular, and I used to have a very high 3-star rate with that of Electro Dragons. Unfortunately, Zap Quick Wallow also has a very good time with that base, so that base has fallen out of popularity. So you generally, since the Zap Quick Wallow, really likes compressed bases, I see a lot less compressed bases now when I'm attacking. So that's hurt the Electro Dragon some in Legend League. I still see some Electro Dragons in the top 30 or whatever of Legend League. So I mean, it's still possible to be higher than what most of us ever get Legend League with it if you're really good with it. But it does seem to be a little bit more challenging with the current meta of how Zap Quick Wallow has changed it. But it's all elixir troop army basically, besides the poison. So it's great when you're leveling up heroes and you don't need a ton of planning. If you're good at it, you almost will never 1-star or 0-star. Some other attacks, even if you're very good at it, you still have some risk of 1-starring and 0-starring, just because the attack style really asks you to take some risks. We're pretty safe with a lot of our attacks here because we're using blimps at the town hall, and we have air troops that help absorb all the air mines and everything that would have hit the blimp anyway, right? With Electro Dragon, we can generally have a very safe way of getting the town hall and then getting the 2-star percentage, right? But other attacks that, perhaps with some base designs really demand you to use a siege barracks or something like that to destroy all the outside buildings and things like that, you have to execute then on your pathing to the town hall. Those attacks, you're putting in a lot more risk that you may 1-star or 0-star, because things can just happen, or you can just misplace a spell or something, and if you misplace a jump, you may just not get the town hall, right? It's a bit riskier, I find. But the pros of doing like a Yeti Smash or like a hybrid is there's more advantages when you have the time plan your attack for more than just 30 seconds, right? And I think that's why you see a lot in the professional competitive play that there are some, there's a big talk because there was one professional team that did bring out Electro Dragons multiple times and did very well with them. 3-star, I think, every time they brought it out. In general, I think what most professional teams have decided is that with the additional planning time that you have, doing something like a Yeti Smash, a hybrid, or Zap Quick Wallow, or even Dragons sometimes is more beneficial than Electro Dragons. Electro Dragons are very good for if you have low amounts of planning time, but as your amount of planning time increases, some of those other attacks can perform at a higher level. It somewhat depends on how much time you're willing to spend on your attacks, right?